You see, it is not in the multitude of our causes, not in the scattering of our passions, that we find any kind of salvation or meaning. No, it is in the terrible solitude of one cause, one obsession, one principle, around which the whole of our being must gather and, if necessary, perish. For man is a creature made for extremes, and without such extremes, without such a hill to die on, he is nothing but a shadow flitting through life. I have observed men, and perhaps in some dreadful moments, glimpsed this weakness within myself. How easily they surrender to the trivial, how they drift like dead leaves on the stagnant pond of daily routine, afraid to claim any ground too fiercely, too dangerously, lest it cost them a smile, a favor, or the hollow applause of the indifferent crowd. They say, "Why fight? Why endure? Why lose the comfort of small peace?" But peace, I say, is a lie when it is bought with the forfeiture of one's soul. There comes a time, how cruel and merciless that time is, when a man must decide what is worth the losing of all he holds dear, what is worth the burning of bridges, the turning away of friends, the shattering of illusions, the loss of even his own comfort. Most people are not lost. They're just afraid to arrive. They're just circling the block with the engine on, waiting for someone to tell them it's time to live, hoping their purpose falls out of the sky like a childhood friend who still remembers their favorite flavor of ice cream. But life does not announce itself with music or light. It drags you into the fire with silence and contradiction and dares you to declare yourself awake. The ones who know where they're going are not the ones who studied all the right things or said all the right words, but the ones who chose a single thread and followed it into madness, isolation, hunger, pain, and refused to drop it even when everything else in them begged for release, because every human being eventually meets the hour where something must be lost. And if you have not already chosen the thing you're willing to lose everything for, then life will choose for you, and you will spend the rest of your days crawling after things that were never yours to keep. You don't need 100 beliefs. You need one thing that you'd rather die for than lie about. One thing you'd rather be hated for than compromise. One thing that, even when the people who love you look at you like you've lost your mind, you hold on to with your entire being. And yet, I know how seductive it is to live wide, but wide roads make wide fools. Pick something. Pick one thing, one idea, one hill. And don't apologize when people think it's too small or too strange or too extreme. They are not meant to see it. They are not built to feel it. That hill is yours, and if you are lucky, then that hill will cost you everything that was never meant to stay. This hill is not chosen lightly. It is the bitter fruit of countless sleepless nights, of agonies and dreams too terrible to confess, of hopes so fragile they might shatter at the slightest breath of opposition. To pick a hill to die on is to step beyond the petty concerns of everyday life and to embrace a truth so fierce that it consumes all other desires, leaving only the stark clarity of a cause that commands every fiber of your being. It is the moment when a man, stripped bare of all deceit, all compromise, must say, "Here I stand. Even if I fall, even if I perish, I will not yield." But consider this. How many men, when confronted with such a moment, tremble and shrink back? How many cling to their half-truths, their convenient illusions, preferring to die slowly in the soft embrace of forgetfulness rather than burn fiercely on a single altar of meaning? For it is easier to drift without direction than to march towards certain ruin, easier to whisper lies to oneself than to shout a terrible truth to the indifferent heavens. Yet it is the hill, the chosen struggle, that defines us. Without it, man becomes no more than a ghost wandering the halls of his own emptiness, a man who has forgotten how to live because he never dared to die for something real. We must understand that to live without such a hill is to endure a slow death, a fading into irrelevance, a surrender to the very nothingness that terrifies us. And so, I implore you, do not scatter your will on many hills. Do not scatter your soul in many directions. Find that one thing so vital that you would sacrifice everything for it, and hold it with the stubborn pride of a man who knows that to lose this is to lose himself. And if you must lose friends, money, reputation, comfort, lose them gladly. For these are but shadows that flee before the light of what truly matters. In the end, it is not the battles won or lost that mark the measure of a man, but the willingness to stand firm when all is lost, to clutch one fragile thread of meaning in the vast darkness, and to hold on until the last breath. This is the grandeur and tragedy of our existence, that we must choose the hill to die on, or resign ourselves to a life not lived at all.